Jim Harbaugh to the Minnesota Vikings. Is it actually going to happen? Let's talk about it. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Style back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about this very news in regards to Jim Harbaugh and the Minnesota Vikings. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to go ahead, hit that big red subscribe button. Make sure you're following me on all my social media platforms. And guys, hit the bell icon so you are notified every time I drop a new video. I do talk a lot of NFL on this channel. Okay, so Jim Harbaugh is reportedly flying into Minnesota on Wednesday for a second in-person interview. This story kind of came out of nowhere, and I know I haven't been keeping you guys up to date with it because I couldn't believe it myself. But now it's got some serious legs to it, and that's Jim Harbaugh becoming the next head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. All right, if you guys remember, after the Vikings hired their new GM, we really didn't get any sort of linkage to coaches, right? The Vikings were that team where I felt like I couldn't really pinpoint a guy to them. You had Giants interviewing people, obviously the Bears, even the Dolphins, the Raiders, and all of these teams, you had candidates interviewing with them, and they were active in the search. But the Vikings just sat back and were just like relaxed. And I'm thinking, how are they not having any sense of urgency here, right? Like, because maybe the guy they want gets taken up. And lo and behold, it looks like they've got an ace up their sleeve. And they're looking to target Jim Harbaugh to be their next head coach. Now, Jim Harbaugh obviously at Michigan. And the fact of the matter is that, nobody's been able to pull him out of college since he's been there. But I seriously do think the Vikings will do it. Because to me, at this point, from what I've heard, and I want to give a shout out to the Bears blog on Twitter. He's been on point with all of his information. He mentioned that the Bears had contact with Jim Harbaugh. They had a conversation, but apparently Jim Harbaugh wants $100 million a year to be the next head coach. Or I don't know if it's a year, but he wants $100 million to be the next head coach of the Bears. And the McCaskies just weren't willing to do that. Not surprising, a lot of franchises wouldn't. And so that's the part where it's surprising me even more is that, is Minnesota willing to do that? Did Jim Harbaugh go back on his sort of, request for this much money? Because I get why Jim Harbaugh will ask for that much to pull himself out of college, right? When you're a college coach, in college football, it's all about the coaches. In the NFL, it's all about the players. So Jim Harbaugh is Michigan. Like, he is the main draw there. When you get to the NFL level, you're not. It's the players. And so I'm still confused on if he's still asking for that amount of money. And the Vikings really don't seem like the type of team that would pay that, right? The Raiders, you would think, they would pay that because they did that with John Gruden, but not the Vikings. Either which way, I do think this has some serious legs because I'm telling you this much. I saw this on Twitter, so I'm going to steal it. But you're not flying in Jim Harbaugh to ask him about khakis, all right? You seriously are looking to hire him. And I think this would be a fantastic hire for the Vikings because Jim Harbaugh has experience, obviously, with the 49ers, took him to a Super Bowl. He's a guy who's proven, and he's a guy who I wanted for the Bears because I wanted somebody to come in with that experience. Again, I'm not the biggest Jim Harbaugh fan, but he has that aspect over the other coaches out there that are first-timers, right? So I think this would be a fantastic hire for the Vikings. I think this would put the Vikings on the map because Jim Harbaugh is a big-name coach. And usually I'm not all up for the rah-rah, just get the big names out there. But Jim Harbaugh can coach. We know that for a fact, obviously at Michigan. Bringing that program, steadily increasing in wins and being able to, progressively get better. That's the thing he does. And then with the 49ers, folks, like, if it wasn't for the entire toxicity with the ownership and with his disagreements, he would have still been in the NFL with the 49ers probably. Who knows? But yeah, I think this would be a good hire because the Vikings definitely need somebody to come in and kind of command everything, right? They're kind of in flux, right? What's going on with Kirk Cousins? You've got some young players like a Justin Jefferson, but is your roster ready to compete? They never seem like they can get over that hump. Well, you need someone to push you over that hump. That could be Jim Harbaugh for them. So again, I have some questions about the money, about exactly what Jim Harbaugh might be looking for, but in terms of the fit, in terms of what Jim Harbaugh could bring to the table. This would be a great fit for the Minnesota Vikings. The other thing I wanted to quickly touch on is I've seen him linked to the Dolphins head coaching gig as well. And my question there is, if I'm Jim Harbaugh, why would I not pick the Dolphins gig over the Vikings? You get to be in sunny Florida. Again, a roster with a great defense. Again, young quarterback. I'm not that high on Tua, but he still has some potential. The Vikings are who they are, and so it's going to take a lot of roster turnover as well. And here's another thing people might not be thinking about. What if the Vikings give Jim Harbaugh more than just coaching power? Again, they hired a new GM, so obviously he's filling that position, but what if they give him a little bit more? So again, I don't know what's going to happen, but my prediction is I do think the Vikings hire him. But the Dolphins are a sleeper as well. They could be looking at somebody like a Mike McDaniel maybe. But yeah, folks, don't be surprised if this happens. Obviously, being a rival with the Chicago Bears, this would be a big win for the Minnesota Vikings. But let's see if it actually goes down. But that is my prediction, folks. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below as always. Thanks a lot.